Good afternoon, everybody. Big Mike back here with you once again. Welcome back to Big Mike Talks, where today I'm going to be talking about the rest of the week that was in pro wrestling. So that's WWE SmackDown, AEW Rampage, and AEW Collision. Definitely an interesting collection of shows this week. So let's get started with WWE SmackDown. And we get a recap of what went down during the Steel Cage match last week on SmackDown, along with the brawl that happened at the end of the show. Then we see Tama Tonga, Tongaloa, and Jacob Fatu going through security, each one getting a pat down. When it comes to Jacob, he gets his pat down. He headbutts one security guard, couple super kicks for another, and then just chucks another one into the wall. Finishes by saying, "Who wants a pat down next?" I'm going to say this time and time again. Jacob Fatu should be the leader of the Bloodline. Not Solo. I mean, he's fine. But he doesn't have that same aura and just main character energy that Jacob Fatu does. So that's how we start SmackDown. Our first matchup of the night. Yes, we are not waiting half an hour, as it's for the United States title, as it's LA Knight. Yeah! Defending against Andrade. And this was a very, very fun match. It was crazy to see LA Knight keeping up with Andrade, because Andrade is surprisingly quick. At one point, LA Knight was going for his springboard superplex, but he kind of slipped a little bit, which it doesn't take away from this, I don't think. Near the end, Andrade goes for the final message, which is his big DDT, which I love the name of. LA Knight blocks it, gets some elbows. Andrade goes for a dropkick, whiffs right into the BFT for the win and retention for LA Knight. Post-match, they kind of look at each other. Andrade's a little unsure, but then eventually they shake hands. Little mutual respect between competitors. I like that. Next up, we see Tiffany Stratton and Nia Jax backstage, with Tiffany saying it's going to feel great to have beaten Bayley and Naomi tonight and send them packing out of SmackDown. Then Nia kind of scoffs at her for a second, leaves, then comes back, says, "Oh, and if you lose, maybe you should be looking for a new home as well." Tiffany leaving SmackDown when she just got there. Alright, Nia. So, some high stakes going into this tag match, which we'll get into. Next up, we see Andrade. He's walking around backstage. He's still looking defeated. He runs into Carmelo Hayes, with Hayes asking, "What was that?" "You put the prize in back row, I see." Or whatever he said. I didn't quite catch what he said, but I guess it was insulting enough, where Andrade attacked Carmelo Hayes, and they just brawled. So, we're getting match 6 of this feud. So, yeah, that could be fun. Now, next up, we got the Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes face-to-face. However, it does not take place inside the ring or the arena. It's on the field of Georgia Tech. Now, I'll say why that's important in a little bit. I'm gonna... This was cinematic as hell. If you all remember the cinematic matches WWE did during the pandemic, during the height of the pandemic, this was that, but in promo form, and it worked. So first we see like a lineup of SUVs. They drive onto the football field, drop off Roman Reigns. He goes to midfield, looks around, stands there for a second. Then we got to this white, I want to say it was a Tesla, but it was probably something else. I don't know. I don't know cars. I'm not a car guy. So then it drives, the car ends up at the stadium, drives out on the field. Cody Rhodes gets out, and he joins Roman Reigns at midfield. And they have this little interaction. With Roman starting, you see this ground you stand on? Everything here is mine. I shared my blood, sweat, and tears out here. This is my field, my stadium, my city. Now, for those who don't know, before Roman Reigns became a wrestler, he played football at Georgia Tech. He was a middle linebacker, I believe. And so, yeah, this definitely some strong connections to Roman Reigns. Then Roman asks Cody, what do you bring to my city? Then Cody asks him, do you see the actual name that's on the side of this stadium? It says Heartwood Studios. And that was the name of the old stadium that my family used to do business at. Obviously, the Rhodes family was from Atlanta, and they, at least Dustin was a part of the territory system back then. Not going into that. That's a rabbit hole. Anyway. Cody continues, while you did play football here, but this is my home. Then Roman kind of scoffs a little bit. He says, cut to the chase. Let's cut to the chase. You signed yourself into a lose-lose situation. You put yourself into a situation with people who have nothing to lose. They took everything from me. My wise man. My brothers. My Ula Fala. I am a chief. I am a man with no country. Cody kind of laughs at it and says, I told you this before our match at WrestleMania, and you shouldn't be surprised. I called you a chief without a tribe. They did take everything from you, but you think you got nothing to lose? Take a look at around WWE. It has its tribal chief. Its WWE champion. Neither are you. Neither one of those are you. Now, you cannot beat the bloodline on your own. You're not the biggest attraction in WWE anymore. But it is Roman Reigns I'm after. Then Roman just kind of scoffs again. He says, what do you want? Cody answers, I want your word that you'll have my back so I can have yours. Roman kind of puts his hand in front of his mouth, kind of thinks for a second. Then he says, I give you my word. But when this is all done, I'm taking back what's mine, pointing to the WWE title. Then Cody kind of leans into him. It's not yours to take. Oh boy. Then Roman Reigns says to him, you're in my way. Cody moves. Roman then kind of turns away from Cody, says, you're also in my way in life. Oh, wow. And then the segment ends. Then we see Kevin Owens. He's watching backstage on television. And then we cut to black. Oh my god, that was so good. Like, I'm a little sad it didn't happen in front of people. But in that stadium, with both having this history, in Atlanta, it makes sense. It's so good. And yes, it is kind of a can they coexist story, but I feel like they about to pull something very cool off. There are so many ways this can go, and we still have Roman versus Cody to look forward to. Yeah, I'm in. Next up, this interesting thing as we get Apollo Crews versus Giovanni Vinci Part 2. Now, the first time they met, as Vinci was taking off his entrance gear, the ref rang the bell. Apollo Crews won in seconds by roll-up. This time, Vinci comes out without his entrance gear. He just has his tighty-whities on and his knee and elbow pads and stuff. It starts out relatively normal match. But then, after a couple of body slams, and after an attempt at a powerbomb by Vinci, Apollo Crews blocks it, hits him with the roll-up, and picks up the win. I have no idea what they're doing with Vinci right now. But post-match, Vinci attacks Crews, then hits a gnarly-looking brainbuster. So, yeah, we'll see what happens there. So, next up, we got a potential Kevin Owens interview. They've been trying to interview Kevin Owens about what he saw from the Roman Reigns Cody Rhodes vignette that was shown. He then says to the interviewer, look, I know what this is all finished. I'm going to go talk about this out there in the ring. So, cut to commercial. Kevin Owens makes his entrance. He's in the ring. He says, thanks, guys. Byron's been asking me about the Cody Roman situation and what Cody has agreed to team with Roman after everything he's done to him. I'm going to be honest. And before he can continue, out comes Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, and Jacob Fatu with Tama Tonga going, It was so weird. Anyway, so Tama Tonga takes the lead. He says, hey, let the right-hand man speak. Last week, Roman and Cody embarrassed the Bloodline. That was a big mistake. They're going to get what's coming to them at Bad Blood. But you, KO, you get what's coming to you by orders of their tribal chief. Then Kevin Owens gets back up on the mic and says, before you guys start, because no one wants to hear you speak anymore, why don't you get up here so I can punch you in the face? So they do just that. At first, Kevin Owens fights off the Bloodline himself, but the numbers game catches up to him, and as Jacob Fatu is going up for a big splash, out come DIY to make the save, hit a shatter machine on Tonga Loa. This brings out Nick Aldis. He has security guards and refs out to break him up. So then Nick Aldis gets on the mic. He's saying, I'm sick of this. I'm sick of the numbers game by the Bloodline. So here's what I see. I see 3 members of Bloodline right here. I see 3 baby faces right here. I smell a main event. So main event is going to be DIY and Kevin Owens versus the Bloodline in 6-man tag. Alright, yeah, awesome, let's do that. So then, next up, we see Bayley and Naomi. They're getting ready for their big match in them coming up. With Naomi saying, look, I'm not planning to leave SmackDown, so let's win this and let me get this shot. And the first title shot that I'm going to give out is to you. Bayley reciprocates, and they kind of do this awkward hug. And we're going to get to that right now, as it's time for this match. as Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton take on Naomi and Bayley. And if Nia or Tiffany pin either Naomi or Bayley, they're gone from SmackDown. But if Naomi or Bayley pinned Nia or Tiffany, they get the title shot at Bad Blood. And this, I don't know, this was a little awkward. Like, not saying bad, because we did get the powerhouse Nia Jax doing really, really well. But there's something up with Naomi and Tiffany. They're not clicking as well as I thought they would be. Near the end, Naomi and Bayley hit a 1D. Naomi being married to Jimmy, I believe. So, them borrowing that. Then Nia Jax with a big old Samoan drop. Then both Naomi and Bayley cover Nia to get the pin. So then we have a little something extra afterwards. They win the match. But now who gets the title shot? Match itself was, like I said, it was very awkward. I do see what they were trying to do. But we'll get that resolved in a little bit. We then get this funny Chelsea Green vignette in which she's training for her dumpster match against Mia Yim coming up. In which she's in an all pink, like, garbage man uniform. She's kind of rummaging through trash. She's miming putting Mia Yim into the trash bin. It's funny. Then she has an incident with a raccoon. Which, honestly, that's just funny. Chelsea Green is like one of those national treasures that need to be protected. Without a doubt. Next up, we see Naomi and Bayley. They're arguing in Nick Aldis' office. Aldis is in. He's looked at the footage, saw that they both pinned Nia Jax. So you both get the shot. However, we can't really have that. So you two are going to face each other in a number one contenders match, where the winner gets Nia Jax at Bad Blood. I don't know. I feel like that takes away from the importance of the tag match, only for these two to have... I don't know. Maybe Nia gets involved next week or something. I don't know. And fine, Alamo, we get our SmackDown main event as the Bloodline take on Kevin Owens and DIY. However, Kevin Owens makes his entrance. We then see the Bloodline taking out DIY backstage. Bloodline come out onto the ramp. Kevin Owens brawls with them for a minute. They get back up in the ring. Jacob's going for his moonsault. Out come the Street Profits to make the save. And now this six-man is now Kevin Owens and the Street Profits versus the Bloodline. And oh boy, I loved this match. This match was so much fun, so chaotic, and honestly really unexpected. Like, this matchup was so much fun. However, after, them pretty much brawling all over the arena, referee throws out the match, so there is no winner. The Bloodline are about to hit a triple powerbomb on Kevin Owens through the table. Owens fights back. Numbers are way too much. Bloodline then hit the triple powerbomb through the table. Then out to try and make the save is DIY, but the Bloodline eventually fight back. We then get a face-to-face with Kevin Owens and Jacob Fatu. Yes, freaking please. They fight for a little bit. Then out comes Cody Rhodes. He has a big old chair. Kevin Owens hits a super kick on Fatu. Cody with a big old cutter. And as the Bloodline are walking up the ramp, Cody Rhodes is in the ring with Kevin Owens, who picked up the chair. It looks like he's about to hit him with it. Looks like he's about to go heel, finally. Cody Rhodes then turns around, faces Kevin Owens. He drops the chair, and then they shake hands post-match. But you could tell Kevin Owens is fed up. This Kevin Owens heel turn is about to hit like crack. Like, this is about to get really good. And I can't wait. So, that was SmackDown. A pretty above-average episode. A lot of good wrestling. Really good storytelling. Especially that out-of-the-arena talk between Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. Things that WWE is about to get really, really good. Especially for Bad Blood coming up. That should be very fun. So we move on from that. We then go to AEW Rampage, baby. We start off with Mark Briscoe of the Conglomeration taking on Brian Keith of the Learning Tree. And they have a solid little matchup. Nothing, super write home about. Brian Keith goes for the Diamond Dust. That gets absolutely countered into a superplex. They trade headbutts for a little while. I think Brian Keith went for a mic drop. Interesting. That gets blocked. Mark Briscoe goes for a J-Driller. That gets blocked as well. Then Mark with a gigantic clothesline into a J-Driller to pick up the win. And who attacks Mark Briscoe from behind? Of course, it's none other than Chris Jericho. Eventually, Orange Cassidy tries to make the save, but Big Bill intercepts him with a big old boot. Kyle O'Reilly then comes down to try to even the odds a little bit more. But Big Bill eventually hits him with a gigantic chokeslam to have the Learning Tree finish standing tall. So, fun match to start off. I need Jericho to take a break. Like, it's been more than time. Next matchup, a very underrated match, honestly, as it's Wheeler Yuta taking on the Butcher from Butcher and the Blade. And, Butcher takes advantage of Yuta's emotional state as he's not fighting back as much. Then after a big old Samoan drop, Wheeler Yuta starts fighting back, including a bunch of superplexes into the hammer and anvil elbows, right into the cattle mutilation for the submission win. Now the ref is asking Yuta to let go. He doesn't at first, but then the ref gets involved and breaks it up. So, definitely, we'll see where Yuta stands on this whole Blackpool Combat Club thing. But, this is going to get interesting. Then we have a backstage promo from the MXN collection. That's Mansoor and Mace Madden. Talking about how the Acclaimed are really salty with cost them in the tag gauntlet. But we're going to make it up to you. Because Max, we saw you got a brand new jacket that says you're the best wrestler in the world. They then present it. So wait until next week, because we're going to get this thing a big old, much needed makeover. So, we're going to see where that leads. Acclaim versus MXN Collection feud. Could be fun. We then get this very weird matchup as it's Harley Cameron taking on Hikaru Shida. And honestly, I'd say weird, but it's amazing to see how good Harley Cameron has become. Now, is she on the level of Shida? That's debatable. But overall, she held her own in this matchup. Including blocking a Falcon Arrow attempt. Shida was about to unsheath her Katana finisher move, but then she is distracted by Saraya, who is ringside, picks up her kendo stick, looks like she's going to use it, and Jamie Hayter just walks down the ramp, grabs it, takes it from her, which then that leads to Saraya just booking it out of the arena. Shida then hits a Falcon Arrow on Harley Cameron to pick up the win. Post-match, Jamie Hayter presents Shida her kendo stick. Looks like they're about to walk out together. Then Saraya gets on the microphone and says, "I'm sick of you not leaving me alone. So next week at Grand Slam, it's going to be you, Jamie Hayter, versus me in a Saraya rules match." So then Jamie Hayter picks up her own microphone and says, "That wasn't very smart of you, Saraya, because all I wanted to do was kick your ass. See you in the Big Apple." Alright. We will definitely be getting an explanation on what this match means on Collision. Spoiler alert. It is not complicated at all. So next up we got tag team action players, as it's Roderick Strong teaming up with the Beast Mortos, who is absolutely awesome, taking on Joe Keys. It has been a while since I've seen Joe Keys wrestle. And Marcus Mathers. Not super familiar with him. This was pretty much a low-key squash match after a combination Samoan drop by Mortis into a big old running knee from Roderick Strong as they pick up the win. So, they are involved in a big 10-man tag on Collision that I will go over. Then we go backstage to a Deonna Purrazzo promo, where she's saying, "I came here to make art, and I've only just begun. So, who says I've only come here alone? I've never truly been alone. I've cultivated a network of friends who would follow me to the ends of the earth." Then in walks Taya Valkyrie. It is about time we see her on TV. And then Purrazzo finishes up. "You think I'm dangerous now? Just you wait." Oof. Purrazzo getting her own crew together. I like it. Let's do it. We then go to the main event of Rampage, and it is a fatal 4-way match, as it's Nick Wayne taking on Rocky Romero, Kip Sabian, and Lio Rush. And this match felt like a WCW-style cruiserweight match. While not necessarily important to the story of the show, it was a nice little showcase for 4 guys who I think needed it. Really, really good back and forth. Everyone got a little time in, including a Kip Sabian cannonball. Lio Rush hits a cutter, only for a 2 count. Nick Wayne goes for Wayne's World, only for it to get blocked. Right into a suplex from Rocky Romero, who then hits a rewind on Kip Sabian. Goes up for the frog splash, misses, into a cutter from Lio Rush, who then eats a super kick from Kip Sabian. Nick Wayne attempts another Wayne's World, only for it to get blocked into a burning hammer, which is crazy. Then Nick Wayne takes Kip Sabian, chucks him out of the ring, hits the pin for the win. It's definitely good to see these guys getting some TV time. I do hope we have something a bit more substantial for Nick Wayne, because considering the Christian Cage and his crew lost the trios titles, they kind of been a little bit aimless for now. So I do hope we got something coming down the pipeline. So that was AEW Rampage. We now go to AEW Collision. And we start off with a bunkhouse brawl match for the Ring of Honor Tag Team titles. As we have Matt Taven and Mike Bennett of the Kingdom taking on Sammy Guevara and the Natural Dustin Rhodes. And this was the big plunder match to start the show. Like, they brought everything in it. Cookie sheets, chairs. They got the bull rope from Texas Bull Rope match. Like, they hit everything on each other, including Dustin breaking out the Shattered Dreams, which I haven't seen that in years. Dustin hits a big old swinging suplex. Sammy with a swanton bomb to pick up the win. That was a nice big win for that team. And apparently Dustin Rhodes' contract is expiring soon, so hopefully he sticks around. So next up, we go backstage to an interview with Kyle O'Reilly, Mark Briscoe, and Hologram. But before the interview can start, the Premier Athletes interrupt, saying that today was made AEW Day by the mayor of this town we're in. I forget where they are. I do apologize. And we're just here so we get no shenanigans from you guys. And Premier Athletes walk off. I forget what Mark Briscoe said, but he did have a word of the day, and it was back to the basics. So, we'll get that 6-man tag in a little bit. Then we see the date of the 5th anniversary of AEW. That's coming up in a couple weeks. And then it scrolls down to DMD. That's right. Dr. Britt Baker is coming back on the anniversary of AEW. Should get you hyped. That should be a good one. We then go to an interview with Evil Uno, in which we'll get to him in a little bit, saying, well, I do have a big match with John Mox coming up. Darby, you're thinking way too far ahead. You're overlooking me. Darby Allin then walks in. He says, can't you see what's happening here? A war for AEW is coming. It's going to be we're going to have a fight tonight, and you guys show me the difference between you and me. You're going to show me what you can do. This isn't a joke anymore. So a little hyping up of Evil Uno. I like that. We then go to a big 6-man tag team match playa, as it's the Conglomeration. That's Mark Briscoe and Kyle O'Reilly teaming up with Hologram, which, that's fun, to take on Arya Daivari, Tony Nese, and Josh Woods of the Premier Athletes. And this match This match was pretty much chaotic from fun from the start. Really, really good back and forth. Especially with Mark Briscoe. Mark Briscoe will never not be fun, as he takes out Mark Sterling on the apron. Hits a big old dive. Gets back in. Hits the J Driller for the win for his team. And honestly, can I just say, can we do something else with Hologram? Like, he's having great matches. That's great. Let's get him in a storyline. So, next, we get a backstage promo from the MXM Collective, saying, last week, we gave Max Caster Jacket a big old makeover. They presented in, like, a suit jacket. When you're transporting, like, dress suits. And they tease opening it. But then, we're not showing it tonight. But 1 week from tonight will be its debut. So, it teases of the MXM Collective. So, we're going to see what this thing looks like. It should be funny. Next up, we got Mariah May taking on Lady Frost. And what I thought would be a solid matchup really wasn't. I don't know what it was between these two, but they had, like, zero chemistry. It did kind of feel like they were getting somewhere. Then Mariah May hits the Storm Zero to pick up the win. We then see a Mariah May Yuka Sakazaki hype video for Grand Slam, in which that's going to be a fun match. We then get an interview from Willow Nightingale saying she's happy she doesn't have to deal with Statlander or Stokely anymore. And I feel inspired by Yuka Sakazaki for stepping up and going after the AEW Women's title. In walks Deonna Purrazzo and Taya Valkyrie, who say, if Yuka was really your friend, you'd be there for her. And while I may only be from Jersey, but my connections in New York run deep. And then she walks off. Willow then remarks, I'm literally from New York. So we'll see what connections we have. We then get a nice Jon Moxley versus Darby Allin hype video for Grand Slam. That should definitely be a fun one. As we get Darby Allin versus Evil Uno. And right at the start, Alex Reynolds, who is ringside, gets up on the apron, distracts Darby, as Evil Uno goes off on Darby Allin for a little bit. Including with Reynolds taking off his belt, giving it to Evil Uno, distracting the referee so Uno can get some belt shots in. Eventually, Darby does recover, hitting a code red. And then Darby starts ripping Evil Uno's mask open. Like, this is a different level of Darby Allin. Then at one point, we have Evil Uno kind of pulling the ref to the side, with Alex Reynolds attacking Darby Allin. And then Evil Uno coming back out, hitting a massive pounce onto Darby Allin. Gets him back in, hits a big old pile driver for a 2 count. Darby Allin fights back with a big old bite into a buckle bomb. Gets an eye gouge, which is just... He then hits Evil Uno on the outside with a coffin drop. Gets him back in, hits another coffin drop to pick up the win. And oh boy, that match was awesome. Like, it is an underrated match. And I think Evil Uno deserves more love. This dude is so underrated. and I think needs a little bit of more TV time. We then get a recap of the goings on with Hangman Adam Page from Dynamite a while ago. We then cut to an interview with Jeff Jarrett. And he says, I'm sick of all of this. I don't care what you have to say. You're going to hear me. Make this match. Hangman, I want you. And we're going to fight anywhere we say. How about New York? You talk about getting people out of your way who were in your way when you were going after Swerve. I don't have to beat you, but I'm going to beat your ass in a lumberjack strap match. So let's get the Dark Order. Let's get my guys. Let's get other people. And let's not have any syringes, no cinder blocks, just the stings of straps. And I've had it with you, and the last outlaw is going to kick your ass. I don't know why I am so enthralled with Jeff Jarrett in 2024, but I am. It's such a turnaround. I can't wait for this match. This match is going to be brutal. It's going to be fun. And I do hope Jeff Jarrett kicks Hangman Adam Page's ass. This is going to be wild. Next up, we got another underrated match as Queen Aminata takes on Serena Deeb. Now, Deeb has been offering to mentor Queen Aminata for the last couple weeks now. Aminata has said no. So I think this has been the emphasis for this match. And yeah, Deeb made Aminata look like $1 million. And really, really good back and forth. Eventually, Serena Deeb hits a big old leg whip into the Detox to pick up the win. So, Deeb has a win over Aminata. I'm sure we'll get some rematches down the line. We then get some highlights of the women's match from Rampage with Saraya and... No. With Harley Cameron and Shida. We then go to a Saraya Harley Cameron interview in which they go over the rules of the Saraya Rules match. Where basically, one, there's no rules except for these. It's no DQ, but only for Saraya. Countouts are allowed, except for Saraya. And then it goes on and on like that. Then, Rule 5, no hammerlocks. And apparently, Saraya hates hammerlocks, which, okay. Rule 6, no interference, unless you're the best friend of Saraya. 7, the match starts with offense from Saraya. Okay, interesting. And Saraya then turns to the camera and says, Jamie, I hope you learn all of those rules. And then you see Harley Cameron crumple up the paper with the rules listed on them, shoves it in her mouth. I'm going to say this. The partnership of Harley Cameron and Saraya has been low-key really, really good. We'll see how much longer Saraya has, because apparently her contract is expiring too. Next up, we get an interview with Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara. They're all bloodied. They're tired. Dustin starts off saying, Sammy, you've been the best tag team partner I've ever had. Back up a second, because you're also partners with the Von Erichs. Chill out a minute, Dustin. Sammy then gets on the mic himself, says, nights like this make it worth it. And look at you, you're Dustin 2 belts. I want to be Sammy 2 belts. So Okada, at the 5-year anniversary, no, first at Grand Slam, it's going to be an eliminator match. And if I beat you there, at the 5-year anniversary, I'm going to get my title shot. Sammy Guevara versus Okada. Yes. Yes, please. That sounds like a dream match I never even thought about. So then Dustin finishes up with, you got it, kid. You have more heart and soul than half the roster here. Let's make it happen. So that's going to be an absolutely fun couple matches. I'm hyped for it. We now go to our main event match of the evening, as it's a 10-man tag team match playa. So we have Hook, the FTW champion, teaming up with FTR and the Outrunners, which is a really underrated team, taking on the team of the Beast Mortis, Roderick Strong, Roosh, and the Grizzled Young Veterans. And I'm going to say this, they all worked really, really well together, but the MVPs of this match are going to absolutely surprise you. It's Roosh and Mortis. They looked absolutely awesome as a unit. They looked really, really good. And of course, when the Outrunners tagged in, they got a big pop. FTR goes for the Shatter Machine. That gets blocked. Mortis with a Samoan drop, which perfectly sets up Roosh for the Bullhorns to pick up the win for their team. Like I said, let Tony Khan, let's team up Roosh, Mortis, and if you gotta bring back Dralistico. There's your LFI stable. I think that could really work, and we could get something more out of these guys. Then we go backstage to a Serena Deeb promo, where she says, stop talking about people who aren't here. I beat the hell out of Aminata tonight. And Britt Baker, you're going to be at the 5th anniversary? Well, so will I. So why don't we have a match on that date in your hometown? Alright, Deeb versus Britt Baker. I like it. Then we get, the most fired up promo I think I've ever heard, and it's from Nigel McGuinness. He says, week and a half ago, I challenged Bryan to a match at Grand Slam, and he has refused to answer. He's your AEW champ? How pathetic. And worse, he's hiding behind a fake injury because Bryan fears Nigel. And Bryan, if you're not going to do it for me, and if you're not going to do it for yourself, do it for these fans. While they cheer for you, they identify with me. Oh, those words. Then Tony Schiavone gets up from the commentary table and says, I've listened to you every week, put down Bryan Danielson, and he feels like the fans are the reason he's here tonight. Bryan isn't afraid of you. He clearly isn't cleared to go, but if he was, he'd fight. And you're going to find out at Arthur Ashe if he is. And it's clear to me that Bryan is the best wrestler I have ever seen. Nigel then turns to Tony, has the most pissed off look on his face I have ever seen. Calls Tony one lucky son of a bitch, because if anyone else would have said that to my face, I'd knock their head off. So, Tony, go sit down before I change my mind. You're doing nothing but drinking the Coward-Aid. Wow. But I'm not. So Wednesday, Brian, is when you meet me in the ring for the final chapter of our rivalry. It is my destiny. And I've been telling anyone who was listening, I was once as good as you, but no one believes me. Why would they? The only two people who know what I'm saying is true is me and you. Why won't you answer my challenge, Brian? I would have loved to beaten you, but you're taking away from me what I deserve. And if you don't show, even if you don't show, I am vindicated. The ball's in your court, and I hope you show up, because if you do, there is a God. And if there's not, may the devil answer my prayers. I missed this guy. Like, my introduction to Nigel McGuinness was when he was, God, what was his name? When he was in TNA during the Hulk Hogan era. That was my introduction to him. I liked him. He was a dang good wrestler. This made me fall in love with him. I did miss his ROH stuff, but this, oh boy, it makes me want to go back and see, because this was such a good, heated, impassioned promo from a guy who really has nothing to lose. So, that is it from all that. Hope you guys enjoyed. We got Monday Night Raw coming a little tonight. We got Tuesday Night Power. And then we got the big one. AEW Dynamite Grand Slam. Should be a fun week ahead. We got Bad Blood coming up in a couple weeks. Till then, until next time, happy wrestling, everybody. Peace.